All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of dual enrollment. I apologize. I am not the most familiar with this presentation, but I think I've got a handle on it. This is actually Dr. Bierker's presentation, one of the guidance counselors. Dr. Bierker was diagnosed with the flu yesterday. He's the one who coordinated all these folks, so he is home, which is better for all of us that he is home. So I'm taking this part over, but I've been through it before, so hopefully we do all right. So just in a snapshot to just give you a quick summary, dual enrollment are programs where students are dually enrolled in high school and college. The students have the opportunity in Pennsylvania in the 11th or 12th grade to enroll in a local college and in high school at the same time. The courses they take at college count toward their high school graduation. Depending on where they go to school, there's very high transfer rates, matriculation rates, and there are even opportunities to go to school. Like if your plan is to go to Penn State or York College for a 4-year program, then you have a very seamless transition in there with your credits that you earn at those institutions. So that's the idea. Our dual enrollment courses are weighted. So if a kid takes a dual enrollment course, it is weighted like an advanced placement course. Is it weighted at a 1.1 weight? All right, so just to kind of give you a summary or an overview of how that works. So, some key ideas. Academically eligible high school seniors and juniors who want to work at the college level while still enrolled. We say academically eligible because we want to screen our kids to ensure their likelihood for success, so we do some internal screening. And the colleges often do some screening through some placement testing. They want to make sure kids have the requisite skill to succeed in college level coursework. So typically reading and math, they want to make sure the kid has the skill to succeed in that environment. We have dual enrollment agreements with HAC, PSU York, Penn State York, York College, and we have had programs, we've had relationships with some other schools too. Consolidated School of Business, CSB, has had a relationship with us at one time. YTI, I think, has had relationships with us. And Messiah has had relationships with us. So students can take one or more. We have students right now who don't really come to school. They don't come to our school. They go just to their college. They stay in touch with us through email and Schoology. We can call them when we need them, but they don't need to show up because they take a full load of courses at college. So we have that situation. Sometimes we have kids who take college courses at more than one college. Maybe they'll take 2 courses at HAC and 2 courses at Penn State. Like, we have situations like that as well. We mentioned this, so looking into transferability. Usually these programs, the courses are generally gen ed courses that have a high transfer rate. So kids aren't taking 4th year advanced chemistry, organic, inorganic chem. They tend to be taking general education requirements that have a pretty wide transferability. Is that fair to say, guys? Yeah, that's kind of what they're taking. We mentioned this. The college transcript and high school transcript are being built simultaneously. You're meeting your graduation requirements. There are limitations to what courses. So not all of Penn State's catalog, as I just mentioned, is available to dual enrollment students, right? There's some limitations there. But an awful lot of classes are available. And a student typically earns 3 college credits for a dual enrollment course. There are certainly exceptions to that. I know we've had students who take HAC courses that happen to be their lab courses or something that are 4 credit courses. So there are exceptions to that. But in the norm, most cases, 3 college credits, and that will earn 1 high school credit for Northeastern. And the course is weighted at 1.1 for cumulative weighted GPA. So here are some tentative, kind of where we are. Requirements for for dual enrollment on our end. We expect students to have a GPA of an 85% or higher, or a school council recommendation if there's some outlying situation and they can speak to that by the end of sophomore year. We can't have Fs. we expect you to have passed your Northeastern high school courses if you're looking to go to college. So your transcript can't really have any Fs. You have to meet their deadlines. our deadlines, it becomes really, as you can imagine, it's complicated. Dual enrollment is kind of complicated already for counselors, right? There's a lot of making sure things work. And those deadlines and requirements become even more important because we're trying to make sure that we have seating in courses, that everything's working with the college, that we're maintaining our relationship. So it's absolutely necessary that deadlines that are stated and required paperwork is completed. You may have to take placement testing. I think at all programs you have to take placement testing for your thing, and that's at the college side. Now, HAC does offer their placement testing here, I think. Is that right? They can do this placement testing here because we offer some HAC courses here in our high school. But that's placement testing usually in math and English, math and language arts. Families have to have the ability to pay for any courses taken, and we'll talk about that just a tiny bit. And they have to be able to provide or coordinate their own transportation if necessary. I want to be clear, transportation does not have to be a barrier to dual enrollment because there are cyber dual enrollment offerings. There are opportunities to take dual enrollment courses in a cyber environment so that you're not geographically tied. You don't have to show up on campus on a regular basis. But if you are taking a live class, you have to make sure you can coordinate transportation. That was quick. You really did that subtly. So here are the costs. Dual enrollment reps, tell me if you see anything that's not accurate at the time he built this. HAC is $100 per credit. So a 3-credit course is $300. You all understand the value there, right? A course. Tyson, can you tell me what the normal course, if you weren't dual enrollment, how much is a normal 3-credit course at HAC?
One 3-credit course at HAC normally is $772.
So $100 a credit is an amazing value. Penn State is no different. Penn State 3-credit hour course is roughly $990. What would a normal 3-credit course be at Penn State?
About $1,500.
About $1,500. You're seeing why this is such an attractive option, right? And your college, a 3-credit course tuition is $870. What would that normally be about?
Probably $1,500 to $2,000.
Between $1,500 and $2,000. So you're seeing the value. The value for dual enrollment is insane. So there is some outlay at the front side, but the long-term value is really insane. I will speak for Northeastern. We have a very high success rate of our dual enrollment students. Our dual enrollment students often do very well, and we're told they're often leaders in their class. You get these kids who are the top kids in our schools show up at college, and they're used to that rigor and that pace that we have here at high school, and they usually do very well in that dual enrollment college environment. Is that the experience you guys have had? I don't know if that's consistent with every high school, but that tends to be what we see. It's an anomaly when we have a student who hits a hiccup at all. It's really unusual. We usually have really high success. So we have here tuition for each course, responsibility of student and family. There was a time many, many, many years ago where the state provided some, I don't know if any of you guys are old enough, the state used to give us money. There was a program. That doesn't exist anymore. So it's really entirely on the parents or family to pay that tuition for a dual enrollment offering. If your student has any sort of special education need or otherwise qualifies for the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, right now, OVR is providing, as part of the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation is an agency, state and federal agency that provides supports for students, for people to become employed. Right, vocational rehabilitation, to be employed. If a student has an IEP here at Northeastern, generally by 10th grade or so, we are trying to get the kid enrolled in OVR services so that our OVR caseworker will come, will meet with the student, work with the family to submit an application, and start working to help that student get access to those opportunities. Right now, OVR pays for 1 class per semester for kids who qualify in a dual enrollment program, and they'll pay for a summer class. So if your student qualifies for OVR and is able to get into a dual enrollment program, qualifies for a dual enrollment program, OVR will pay for 1 course per semester. I'm not sure if it's limited to the college. I doubt it is. I know that we have used OVR with HAC. We've had a handful of students with HAC. I don't know if we've used them with the others, but that OVR program is phenomenal. So if your kid qualifies, and they don't have to have an IEP, most kids who do qualify have an IEP. There are you guys know what I mean when I say IEP. Special education. There are kids who do receive special ed services and don't qualify for OVR, and there are kids who don't have special ed services and do qualify for OVR. So it's not as clean, but typically we start by looking at kids who have IEPs and see if they'll qualify for OVR. That's just one of their services, but it connects really well to dual enrollment. It's an amazing opportunity, creates access that is kind of unheard of. So that OVR piece is fantastic. He puts a lot of info on a slide. So how do you sign up? We have forms. Is Chris here, or my counselor's here? Okay, that's all right. I believe we have forms developed. I haven't seen the form, but I think it's just a form to record your request. If you're interested in dual enrollment, you'll need to talk both to a counselor from the school, your student's counselor at the school, and the college or university. All right, this is a two-way program, and it's vitally important. We have this happen occasionally. It's vitally important that you're not just talking to the college. If you're interested, you need to engage a counselor. And the reason is there are courses that you can take at a college that don't add any value to your high school transcript. And we don't want you doing that and kind of, I don't want to say wasting money, but putting money into a course that doesn't add anything to your high school transcript. We try to match as closely as we can our graduation requirements to their offerings. So if you have already taken AP Bio, we don't want you to take bio, first year bio at college. You already have that credit on your transcript. We can't give it to you twice. Does that make sense? If you want to take a senior social studies, you have a lot of options. But if you want to take an 11th grade, match your 11th grade social studies, ours is civics. So we would want you to take something that approximates a civics or U.S. political science course, something along those lines. We'd want you to approximate that course content. Does that make sense? And if there's a course that has, I've seen people try to sign up for a phys ed class and count it as their health requirement. It has nothing to do with health. Like, it's a different course. So we don't want people making those mistakes. So it's absolutely vitally important that you're communicating with your counselor if that's your intention, and you guys work in concert, get course recommendations or course suggestions before you commit to anything. Because I hate to have people write the check to their school and then we can't, I don't have a place to put it on the transcript. Does that make sense? So just be careful there. This is just more of this. Once a counselor meets with you, make sure you meet minimum requirements. You're given sets of forms from the colleges, and you probably may have already started talking to them, that they walk you through how to start that process on their end. Okay? This is what I was just talking about. You don't want to sign up for courses and pay unless you've cleared the classes with the school counselor and Northeastern schedule, right? You might have a course that you can't take at college. Let's say safety ed. Safety ed is a graduation requirement at Northeastern. You can't take that at college in most cases. So if the only way you could get safety ed on your schedule is if you took it at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 in the morning with us, and that's the only one we can offer, and you haven't allowed that opportunity in your schedule, you built a college schedule that doesn't allow that to happen, that can foil you. That's what this means. You have to work with our school schedule a little bit, okay? It's very adult. Kids in dual enrollment come and go. Like they take off when it's time to go to class, and their class may meet at college 3 days a week. Well, they don't come to us the other 2 days a week at that time and sit in an empty classroom. It's very adult. In theory, I don't know if you guys schedule, in theory, a kid could take a night class. Are there any limitations to that? So a high school student could take a night class, a 3-hour night class, have class one night a week, Tuesdays from 6 to 9. That student doesn't need to come in the other days unless they have courses scheduled in our building. Does that make sense to you? So it's really adult. The kids who do this are typically pretty organized, pretty responsible, very mature. We have a pretty high expectation of their maturity and ability to navigate this cooperatively with us. So that's kind of how it works. And most of my students really have very good experiences with dual enrollment. They usually speak highly of it. So that is dual enrollment. I don't know if I have another slide. You want to hit it? There's one more. The guidance, once they have your paperwork, you know you're interested, they'll start working with their contacts at the colleges. They'll make sure transcripts are sent. Colleges determine acceptance, not Northeastern High School. So Penn State, York has the absolute ability to say this isn't a fit or this won't be a match. So they determine that. Once accepted, colleges will advise you on testing and other tests. Got to be aware of start and end dates for semesters at the colleges. They don't necessarily, in fact, they don't align with ours. So you have to be aware of that. You might be starting before high school starts. You may be starting your college class before high school starts, or semester break gets weird, right? Because your course will end, if you're in a college course, that will typically end before your semester in high school ends. It can create some weirdness. You just have to communicate. We're used to working with folks on that. You just got to be aware of it. You also have to be aware of sports, music, work. If you're an athlete, you don't want to take a night class that keeps you from participating in games because you can't skip your night class, right? So you have to be aware of those things. But our kids navigate it. We have student athletes do dual enrollment all the time. Still counts towards your eligibility to play sports in high school if you're dual enrolled. Okay. We actually have stopped advising kids. Kids have the opportunity to ask to take to do an early graduation, to graduate early if they've met their requirements. We advise if their plan is to go to post-secondary ed, we say don't early grad. Just stay in high school and take your courses in college. Like do dual enrollment in college. Don't early grad. You get a huge discount. Like it's just an enormous benefit. So dual enrollment's a phenomenal program. These folks will be here after we're done talking, and you'll have the opportunity to meet with them and get questions answered. Anything I left out that you guys think I should mention? Not you, ma'am, for Stevens, because I have a different presentation for you. For the other folks, anything? One-on-one conversations will probably suit what we need. Make sure there's not another slide back there. Whew, there is.
That's the last one, though.
You know all this. Tyson, Catherine, Terry, they can help us. Okay. All right, so there's another presentation in the schedule folder. It says, Thaddeus Stevens. Yay. Ma'am, I might ask you a little bit more. I'm a little less familiar with Thaddeus Stevens. Come on up. Yeah, there's a PowerPoint. Is it your PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
I promise it'll be like 5 minutes. I'll give you the quick bullets.
You get this. You have to talk into this so it's picked up by the camera.
I'll catch you a break.
Thank you.
Oh, it's heavy. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha, and I'm a college recruiter at Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. Before we even get started, has anyone actually heard of Thaddeus Stevens? Okay, some of you. We're only 35 minutes away, and I even came during rush hour. So we are basically your neighbors across the river. This program that we have called Early Enrollment is a really, really cool opportunity. We have been doing it in Lancaster County. Basically, every single school in Lancaster County and some in Berks have been doing it the past 2 years. We actually have about a total of 40 students right now on campus that are early enrollers, meaning they are seniors in high school, and they're spending their entire year at Thaddeus Stevens as a college student. So essentially, they're completing their first year of college, their senior year, okay? So I'm gonna go through a few slides. It's kind of rushed, but if you think your student is interested in this, please stop by my table. So do I have any juniors in the house? All right, it's not too late to apply. We have over 22 different majors. So anything from like mechanical engineering, electronic engineering, to like the building trades, like plumbing, masonry, carpentry, to architecture, graphic communications, business. So you still have time to apply. So you apply during your junior year, and all your classes are taken at Thaddeus Stevens College, like I was saying. We'll go to the next slide. So why choose early enrollment? Sometimes students are looking for a change. We're, just like he was saying with dual enrollment, we're still kind of looking for the same student. We are looking for that 2.5 or higher GPA. We are looking for that student that's ready for something new and challenging for a curriculum. We're looking, because one of the great perks is you're going to get a degree faster. You're going to be able to go out in the workforce faster. The next slide. Things to consider. You want to make sure, and this is why I'm glad that I have younger classmen in here, you want to make sure that you're taking the correct classes. Your senior year, most times, if you're taking the correct classes, you only have something like maybe math and English, and that's what you'll be taking at Thaddeus Stevens. At Thaddeus Stevens, no matter what major you pick, you spend 4.5 hours in your major. The rest of the time, you're probably going to be taking 2 to 3 gen ed classes that semester. So that's when you're going to take like your math and your science. Maybe you need to like complete a gym or a health class. You can do that at Thaddeus Stevens at college level. The other thing is your attitude and maturity. I know it sounds cheesy, but if you miss class, you miss out. So you have to be ready to be committed. If you want to do Thaddeus Stevens, you have to show up to school Monday through Friday. You have to be ready to work. Transportation. You do have to have a car. You have to be able to get there. And that's why I kind of gave you the idea. It's not a bad drive. It's 35 minutes. So you have to be able to drive. You can't stay on campus. Here's something else that's really cool is the financial impact. To give you an idea, next year tuition is $8,000 for a student. As an early enroller, we cut that in half. It's only $4,000. So really, let that sink in. Your first year of college is only going to cost you $4,000. Wow, isn't that so exciting? Yeah. The other really cool thing is you're like, oh my gosh, that's still a lot of money. How am I going to upfront $4,000? Well, if you choose to be an early enroller, you can actually apply for financial aid. You can fill out the FAFSA. Here's a really cool fact. One of the reasons I'm so excited that I work for Thaddeus Stevens, 50% of our students go to school for free. Free, completely free. It's called the Stevens Grant, and it's based off of your financial need. So I always say if you're someone in the crowd that maybe your student is on free and reduced lunch, that's a really good indicator that you could come and be a Stevens Grant student. So when I say free, free tuition, your textbooks, your tools, everything. But even so, $4,000 is still a really, really good price tag for 1 year of college. So that's just really exciting. But keep in mind, you do have to pay for your textbooks. You do have to pay for your tools, but you can apply for financial aid. Just like dual enrollment, other commitments, athletic, work. I mean, you're in school, you basically block out your day from 8:30 to 4:30. You're in your shop for 12 to 4:30, so that 4:30 is kind of non-negotiable. So that's gonna hurt you if you wanna do sports, okay? But otherwise, if you don't have class until 11 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, you don't have to be at campus until 11 o'clock, okay? But you do need to block out your schedule Monday through Friday. So those are some things to consider. Next slide. Life after Thaddeus Stevens. Why it's a good option, maybe not as an early enroller, but maybe after you graduate. Something pretty cool, we have over a 96% job placement rate. In fact, kind of a cool fact, today we had our career fair just for our Thaddeus Stevens students. We had over 400 companies participate today. It was insane, all the job opportunities. So this is kind of cool too. The class of 2016, we had 415 students graduate. We had over 1,400 employers. Really let that sink in. 1,400 employers offer our students over 2,500 jobs. When you're starting to research your careers, when you look at all of our majors, this is where the job opportunities are at, okay? So just kind of to start thinking life after Thaddeus Stevens. The average with a lot of our majors, our students are starting off sometimes as high as $60,000. Electrical, HVAC, welding. Think about it. How old are you guys now as a senior, 17 or 18? You could be graduating, not even 20, and possibly making $45,000. Let that sink in, okay? Kind of really cool. Let's see if I have another slide. To kind of put that into more specifics, the construction cluster, so things like plumbing, masonry, carpentry, average starting rate is $19 an hour, so that comes out to a little over $39,000 a year. And our manufacturing cluster starting average is over $20 an hour, and you can see that comes out to $42,000. Okay, so imagine 1 year out of high school, if you choose to do early enrollment, you could be making this kind of money. Next slide. So how do you apply, especially for my juniors or people thinking about it? You are going to apply online. Honestly, it takes about half an hour, and the hardest thing is knowing your social security number. So take half an hour, apply online at stevenscollege.edu. Here's something else that's really cool, is it's literally costing you nothing to apply. As a normal senior that's applying for college, there's usually a $45 application fee. As an early enroller, you can get a fee waiver signed. This helps you because if you're seriously thinking about it and you have that fee waiver, it's going to basically force you to go and talk to your guidance counselor and get that conversation going. There is an application essay that you have to do. Have no fear. It's really not an essay. It's basically like 4 questions that you have to answer. It's kind of geared towards why are you doing this major? What do you plan on doing with your life? And then I do need your official transcript, and we're looking for a 2.5 GPA or higher. Because again, we're looking for that unique student that's ready to, that's passionate, ready to show up and to really learn. And I think that's my last slide. Oh, deadline to apply. That's why I said juniors, it's not too late, May 1st. Okay, so May 1st is when you want to apply. However, those of you that are underclassmen, your junior year, September 1st is when you can start applying. And I really encourage you to apply sooner than later. We like to focus on small class sizes, so most of our majors only have 25 students in. Again, this is the cost. I'm talking about financial aid, and if you have questions about that, you can definitely come and talk to me. Let's see what else. That's it. Okay. So the other thing, if you're thinking, well, how, because I know I'm a mom. He's not really in school yet. He's still a baby. But I'm still thinking, well, who's going to keep tabs on my kid? So you're considered a college student, okay? You're not going to be treated any differently than that 18-year-old or 25-year-old. However, you might be the only enroller from Northeastern, and that's kind of scary. So we really, for all of our early enrollers, no matter what school, you have your own little special summer orientation so that you can get to know each other. You have a little posse. The other thing, Megan Dankos is our assistant director of admissions, and she's the one that kind of looks at the early enrollers. Every month they meet and she gives them lunch because college students love to eat, but she checks in with them. And we are also constantly sending your grades to your counselors so that you can still access your grades. So we do check in, we do kind of, give a little pat on the back to those early enrollers because even though you are a college student, you're still only a senior in high school. So that's kind of my short version of early enrollment, but really, 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 think about it. It's a really great value. So that's my story. Come visit.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll give you a minute or two to digest. Don't go attack their tables yet unless you don't want to hear about advanced placement. We'll give you a minute or two to digest, and when we'll have our AP team, they'll talk about advanced placement courses. Our AP courses are college level courses taught in high school by high school staff. We have quite a few. Are we up to 13? 13 AP courses, and they'll be presenting theirs in a couple minutes. Do I have